Hello everybody, welcome back to Stormblood, continuing where we left off. Let's see, sorry about that, I let my emotions get the better of me. It's just that she and I are of an age, and we're neither of us one thing or another. I can't help but feel like she's my problem to solve. Okay. The capacity to experience such visions of the past had always seemed to me to be the most desirable talent, but I see now that it is as much of a burden as a blessing. Okay, what do you have to say for yourself, Lise? I don't know that we solved anything exactly, but we've given Fordola something to think about at least. Aye, and I've found something new to think about too. I don't know about you, Ikeda, but the visions only come to me every now and then. From the way Fordola kept wincing, though, I get the feeling she's having them almost all the time. That's a lot of bad memories to deal with. I wonder, could there be some fundamental difference between one who is born with the Echo and one who has been artificially imbued with it? While the Immortal Flames have been scouring that research facility ever since the Liberation, there's a chance they might have some answers for us. General Alden's there overseeing the investigation. Let's go and pay him a visit, shall we? Yeah, sure. Whatever you say, lady. Whoops, didn't mean to bump the microphone. Sorry, people. Onward, Chubby Chocobo! Chocobo. So much chubby. Dim hips. So stupid. Alright, Resonatorium? Okay. General Alden is inside, aye? Will you be joining him? Well, not like I got a choice now, do I? I almost sneezed for some reason. Not sure why. Oh, right. It's this hellhole. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. What do you got to say, Lise? Come on, let's talk to Raubahn. Okay, what is I swear Arn will at least have something compelling to say. They should burn this place to the ground and be done with it. Okay, nothing compelling to say. What do you guys say, Raubahn? What news? You spoke with Fordola, I take it? Yes, as expected. She didn't say very much, but it wasn't a total waste of time. Arnvald noticed something odd about her. He thinks she might be having visions almost constantly, which is not how the Echo normally works. Have you found anything here which might explain why it's so different for her? We've been hard-pressed just to organize the research materials, let alone study them. To be frank, I'd welcome the Scion's expert assistance, if you have time to lend a hand. Okay. And what is that going to involve? By the way, people, I haven't figured out how to unlock the new raid yet. I'm gonna figure that out eventually. For a race with no innate capacity to manipulate Aether, the Garleans have conducted some exceedingly elaborate Aetheric experiments. Okay. Ironworks engineer, what do you gotta say, lady? All the pods are designed to drain the Aether of the occupants, save that one right here. Unlike the others, the interior's been fitted with an array of sensors to measure Aetheric waveforms. To what purpose, however, I couldn't tell you. Alright, let's investigate it. Maybe there's somebody inside. The device in which Kryle was held seems even more ominous now you know its purpose. The surrounding pods are marked Supply Subject, while this one bears the label Master Subject. The Ironworks received a request from the Alliance to analyze these devices, and I've been recording everything of interest. Did you notice the labeling? All the pods are designed to drain the Aether of the occupants, save that one right there. Unlike the others, the interior's been... Okay, I've essentially read this. To what purpose, however, I couldn't tell you. So, why you even make her line out of that the same thing as what I just read? Look, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Okay, Flame Investigator. What do you have to say? So many bodies, every one of them a victim of these experiments. Few show any signs of external injury. From what we've been able to determine, they perished from forcible Aether extraction. Such a miserable way to die. This game is getting really dark. Like, A Realm Reborn and Heaven's Word had their dark moments, but this whole expansion has been pretty freaking dark compared to the previous ones. I know little and less of science, so any light you can shed on this facility's operations would be much appreciated, Ikeda. Appreciated. Ikeda, shall we start with you? So they drained the aether of other subjects, but what did they do with the master subject? Taken in combination with the testimonies of Kryle and Thancred, I do begin to see exactly what the Imperials were attempting here. That's a new theme. The enhancement procedure entailed infusing a single candidate with aether siphoned from a multitude of supply subjects. As for the master subject, in this case Kryle, the patterns of her aetheric activity would provide the model upon which they would artificially engineer the candidate's aura. Oh, so they were scanning her because she has the echo. In other words, they were trying to recreate Kryle's echo. I believe so, which would explain our prisoner's present state. Kryle is possessed of an unrivaled ability to hear the whispers of the soul, and it seems probable that the procedure engendered the same acute sensitivity in Fordola. The soldiers who guard Fordola, many of them lost friends and family to the skulls, and there's a sentry at her door, night and day. If she can't help sensing their thoughts and seeing their past, it's probably driving her nuts. But you don't just see their past, you live it. All the emotions, all the pain, imagine what it'd do to you. You'd never be the same again. Indeed, as you may recall, I forgot how to pronounce her name. Isael was completely transformed by a single glimpse of Hraesvelgur's past. Hold on a second, people. Okay, I'm back. Fordola has been forced to experience the agony of those whose lives she destroyed. The guilt must be unbearable. That explains her request to be executed. Sounds to me like a kind of justice. Regardless, she can suffer on for now. We have more pressing matters to consider. If the results of these experiments have been relayed back to Garlemald, there will be naught to stop the Empire from repeating the trick. They could give the echo to anyone, to an entire legion. We must be ready. We must learn all we can of these god-forsaken procedures, and Fordola remains our best source of information. She'll not be getting her wish, not yet. Right. Keep faith, lass. If you're to convince others to follow you, you must believe what you're telling them. People will respond to passion, but not if it's feigned. I understand. Thank you, General. We should leave the flames to it. Let's go. All right. So then what's next? Honestly, I'm not sure what is left of this DLC, because as far as I know, that dungeon's the only story dungeon, unless there's something I haven't been told about. The forcible extraction of aether from a living subject is invariably fatal. How many died that Fordola might gain her new abilities? Okay. I've never known why I was given the echo, but this makes me want to put it to good use. Excuse me. At least there isn't any side quests, other than the ones that unlock the new dungeons. I go looking for answers about the echo and end up getting schooled by Raubahn. Yet more evidence that I don't know what I'm hold on a second. Sorry about that, people. Let's see. Yet more evidence that I don't know what I'm doing. It's no wonder people listen to him and not me. General Alden is a veteran of countless campaigns, Elise. You cannot compare yourself to a commander of his experience. I know, but I also know that I couldn't have convinced that mob to give up and go home. It makes me realize how much we rely on his authority, and how much I still have to learn. Sorry if my voice is a little messed up, people. I'm getting a little dry mouth. Let's see here. I wonder what he'll do when everything here is settled. I mean, it's his homeland. After going to the trouble of winning it back, might he not want to stay? It is a quandary which countless refugees now face, to continue the life they built in Ul'dah, or start again in the land of their birth. I don't know. Is he gonna abandon the little tiny Princess, or I don't even remember what her title is. The little, I don't even remember what her name is for some reason. Anyways, let's see. Ikeda, a moment. I'm newly returned from Oldar with a message from the Sultana. Oh, right, she was a Sultana. Her Grace desires an audience with you. She understands that you have responsibilities here, but asks that you visit the palace at your earliest convenience. Okay. Well, I must away and attend to other business. Until next time, my friends. Onward, little tiny person. So tiny. An audience with the Sultana, depending on the nature of her consultation, this might be the perfect opportunity to inquire about the General's future plans. Yes, we'd all like to know about those, Alphino, but not everyone's as comfortable interrogating royalty as you. Take no notice of them, Ikeda. Right. Okay, what do you gotta say, Lise? I know I could learn so much from Raubahn if he'd decide to stay, but it's his choice, and I'm not about to try and persuade him. Ul'dah needs him too. In case you're wondering, I'm not planning on staying in Ala Mhigo. Too many bad memories, and besides, I like my new life. Okay. Well, the question of how to put the Mad King's treasures to good use shows no sign of answering itself. Shall we be about it, Arenvald? I'm at your beck and call. Oh god, freaking mighty number 9. I'm triggered! Triggered! The freaking game has ruined me. I'm so glad I'm done with it. I should be getting back to my own tasks. I'll organize a squad to head down into the ruins and then start preparing for the big meeting. Oh, send Nanamo my regards, Ikeda. Right. And ours too, if you please. We shall see you on your return. Okay, hello, buddy. Mrs. Burb? Mrs. Burb, I can only assume by that name. Or Miss Burb. Oh my god, did you just assume my gender? 1 second, people. I'm gonna check Roger's reach really quick. See if there's, the little side quest that unlocks the thingamajigger. The new raid, which is not there for some reason. Where the hell is it? I don't bloody know. Okay, so there's Limsa. Oh wait, no, not Limsa. Uldah's where I want to go. Old Ul'dah. I forgot to do my expert roulette. I feel dumb. The whole point of me doing that previous dungeon was to do my expert roulette, and I forgot to do it! Ah! I is so dumb. Let's see, due diligence, tougher than leather. These knuckles. Chamber of Rule? I think that's where I'm supposed to go. I'm not sure. Alright. A luxury long lost. Without a trace. Oh, that's probably the alchemy quest that I still haven't finished, because I never did do the 50 through 60 crafting class quests. Or the gathering class quest, for that matter. Okay, I'm gonna sneeze. I don't want to sneeze. Okay, I'm not gonna sneeze. My lord, it was an honor to face you in the tournament. So they kept that canon. Since that day, I have spent my every spare moment in the practice yard, striving to attain some fraction of your skill with the blade. Forgive me, you are here for the audience with the for your audience with the Sultana. Please proceed. Do 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 do.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy.
Yes, Nanamo. Now I remember her name. I wonder why.
The liberation of Ala Mhigo will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel.
You're seeking the counsel of a mute. Okay.
I speak of Raubahn and his future.
Oh, I see.
All know the tale of his rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call Ul'dah home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Ala Mhigo. And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss.
The question is who would replace him.
Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Ala Mhigo and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt. Whether Raubahn chooses to remain in Ul'dah or return to Ala Mhigo, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret. Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears.
What, so she's quitting too?
Might I have your company for a brief adventure?
Okay. Oh, this should be fun. Maybe.
Wonderful. Allow me a moment to change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
Alright, I am taking the Sultana on an adventure. They seem to be emphasizing adventure a lot so far in these little quests. I'm not sure why. I mean, you're supposed to be a quote-unquote adventurer, but they didn't really emphasize all that adventures, like going on adventures that much, as far as I can remember. Alright, go to the quicksand. I guess I'm gonna have a queue up for expert roulette while I'm doing this, and then if it pops, I'll probably just pause the recording until I get back from doing that. Please don't mind, it's just I'm trying to get the expert roulette done before the freaking daily reset. Alright, so I need to go to the Adventurers Guild. You won't miss anything. Isn't this the way... She's the one who I met early on in the story, I think. That was her. Okay, yep, that was her. For a chance to remember Lily Rudd, the merchant's daughter. This is the persona I assume when I venture beyond the palace walls to observe my subjects unnoticed. Ordinarily, Papa Jean would accompany, but for this particular outing, I need an advisor, not a minder. And that is why I requested your company. Over the course of your many adventures, you have met people from all walks of life in every corner of Eorzea, and I would make use of your worldly experience. Now let us be on our way. Our first destination is Stone's Throw, just beyond the Gate of Nald. Okay. Lead on, little tiny person. Onward with your tiny legs. So stubby. Sorry if I sniffle a little bit. I don't know if I have a cold or if it's because the weather's getting the way it is. Like since it's finally starting to turn to fall around here, the trees are dying and that's releasing pollen into the air and tree pollen. I hate it. Look upon this procession of tattered tents. These refugees camp in squalor at the mercy of the elements and Thanalin's predators both. The city's mighty walls offer safety, but the streets overflow with people as it is, and unless blessed by the hand of Nald himself, no refugee could ever hope to afford a dwelling in Ul'dah. 20 years have passed since the fall of Ala Mhigo, and 5 since the calamity. Yet the plight of the poor has grown more desperate, not less. As Sultana, the blame falls upon me. Well, yeah, it's not like she's neglecting it. My best has not been good enough. Shall we press on? I would follow the road to the unholy air. I mean, she's pretty much, as far as I remember, as far as the story goes, she's practically a figurehead, while the people who actually rule the country here are a bunch of freaking corporations. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Yeah, that's just how the story is. Well, I say corporations, but yeah, the syndicate, which are a bunch of really rich merchants, essentially. Essentially the equivalent of corporations of this game. At least I don't have to deal with slow movement. Oh, the freaking auto run screwed me. That was my fault. Alright, Nanamo. What do you have to say for yourself? It was here in this holy, unremarkable place that my mother and father met their doom. What? I was but a child at the time. My parents were returning from an inspection of our interests in eastern Thanalan when an untimely rock slide crushed their carriage. To this day, it is not certain if the incident was simple misfortune or an expertly planned assassination. Considering the way the Syndicate is, probably an assassination. Raubahn once offered to reopen the investigation and bring me the truth he assumed I must surely crave, but I refused. Even if my parents' death were orchestrated by the monetarists, we could only have brought their hirelings to justice. The true villains, those who plotted to put me on the throne as a biddable puppet, were ever beyond our reach. Thus did I plan to strip the merchants of their power and place our nation in the hands of its citizens, quite unaware of the consequences my actions would have for you and yours. I shudder to think how many goodly souls paid the price of my naivety. But I am no longer a child reciting words with witless obedience, and I will not be used as a pawn in the monetarists' damnable games. Forgive me my outburst. You are one of the few people to whom I feel I can speak my mind. Come, let us return to Ul'dah and visit the Colosseum. Oh, you're gonna give me the runaround, are you? I'm just gonna teleport. Save me some time. Do 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 do. If you can recognize that tune, gotta say, the 10th ending theme for Dragon Ball Super, freaking awesome! Best one yet. I love it. It's tremendous. That is the wrong door. Go this way. But yes, I love that song. Shoop, boop-a-doop, boop, boop. There we go. It looks like it's not gonna be all that much longer until this queue is done. Possibly? I don't know. Oh, there's Genevieve. Who's a rich prick. Alright, let's see here. The moment I became Sultana, I found myself thrust into an endless parade of document signing and ceremonies. For years, I simply signed where I was told to sign and sat where I was told to sit, blissfully oblivious to what any of it meant. Yet one good thing did come up from that ignominious chapter in my life, for it was during an official visit to the Colosseum that I first met Raubahn. The match I had been invited to attend was not at all what I expected. They had pitted the Bull of Ala Mhigo against some dozen or so rival gladiators. Blinkered though I was, I would not stand for so obvious an injustice, and demanded to see a fair fight, one man against another, and my royal wish was duly granted. It was not until later that I learned of the gambling ring, which had arranged for Raubahn to die on the sands that day. Regardless, my intervention meant that Raubahn had but a single opponent to dispatch, which he duly did, and when he knelt before me to receive the winner's purse, he swore that he would one day offer me his blade in service. Surrounded as I was by liars and manipulators, I confess I dismissed it as a pleasant piece of theater. But as you know, Raubahn is a man of his word. Though it took him another 5 years of fighting on the Bloodsands, he amassed a fortune so great as to buy not only his freedom, but a seat on the Syndicate. And then I had my blade. Well then. Well, am I going to see the memory? Yep. Well, I called that one. Seems like it's starting to become just a little bit more convenient these days. Well, he's gone. He just shakes that off. Why'd he drop the shield? Oh, that's why he dropped the shield. That was pretty sweet. Now, if only he hadn't lost his arm. Oh, they were planning to wear him down until he died. Should have been obvious, of course, but you know what I mean.
Your Grace, you mustn't! The danger is too great! Please, Your Grace, come back! I beg of you!
That run!
It seems you're the one who needs looking after, Master Shum. Raubahn!
What the crap?
I have kept the promise made.
So you have, and in turn, so too shall I keep mine.
That was adorable.
With your winnings, you have become one of the 6 most wealthy souls in all Uldar. And so, as tradition dictates, Raubahn Aldin, you have earned yourself a seat on the Syndicate. May your new station garner you still greater glories.
I am honored, Your Grace, and vow to serve with every fiber of my being from this day till my last.
I get the feeling the people back there aren't too happy about that.
Long live the Sultana, and long live Uldar!
Still, that was adorable. Alright, words cannot well express what that man means to me. There are others who care deeply for my well-being, of course. Papa Shan's love for me is as that of a grandsire for his grandchild. But upon matters of governance, I cannot turn to bodyguards and maidservants for counsel. Raubahn, with the authority of his Seneca position, was the first sword I could wield. His was the only edge which could cut the strings that bound me. Oh. Neat. Okay. We must make haste! My absence will not go unnoticed by the Sultan's Sword for long, and there are other places I would visit. To the Arzaneth Ossuary. Where the hell is that? Oh. Okay. I think. Wait, isn't it that's the Thaumaturge Guild, I think. Let's go there, teleport. Save me some... Actually, wait, no, now that I think about it, it'd probably be faster just to go this way. I is a dumb... Now, was I right? Oh, yeah, I was right. Okay, it appears over there. So just run this away. Huh. The Black Mage quest isn't there. It must be over in, one of the Thanalin areas. Or the freaking Heavensward area. When the calamity threatened, Raubahn led the Alliance forces into battle on the plains of Cartno, and I remained here. I prayed with all my heart that Archon Louisoix would have the power to rouse the 12. Since that day, I have made a custom of visiting this shrine during each of my little excursions. Here I seek the blessing of Thal, reflect upon my choices, and ask myself if I am fulfilling my duties as Sultana. You are rightly celebrated as a champion because you have led the line in 100 battles for the good of Eorzea. In much the same way, I believe the measure of a monarch lies in how she leads her people in times of adversity. If I am to be a Sultana worthy of the name, I cannot turn a blind eye to the troubles facing Ul'dah. I have chosen my path, Ikeda. With Ala Mhigo now freed from Imperial chains, I finally see a way to aid the refugees. And how would that be? Little tiny person. Already, many displaced Ala Mhigans seek to begin the long trek home. To facilitate that process, I have made a small contribution, an artisan's school in Rogger's Reach, for any who wish to learn new trades. Realistically, however, it will take years for such training to yield tangible benefits. But we do not have years. These people will need shelter and employment if they are to survive, and this time the Ul'dah treasury shall provide. Precisely where and how to allocate the necessary funds is, of course, another question. Why do you ask a member of the Syndicate for advice? Why not seek the advice of one who employs refugees? A wise decision. Mayhap a visit to the Gold Saucers in order. Its proprietor is a member of the Syndicate, and he is one of the few who pay refugees a fair wage. I wonder, are you acquainted with Godbert Manderville? Oh, God. I wish I wasn't sometimes. He's a little freaky. Though I need not explain his eccentric nature. Let us make our way to the landing, and I will see that word is sent to the Gold Saucer. Godbert should be only too glad to receive us. I swear that name, Godbert's just weird. Oh, I need to go to the freaking airship landing? Alright. Although the problem is, do I remember the way to said airship landing? Oh, I can just teleport there now. Whee! Alright, little Nanamo. I have ridden aboard a public airship before, but this shall be my first visit to the Gold Saucer. I must confess to some excitement. Yay! Blithesome businessman, I never had such fun. That Manderville chap certainly spared no expense with that saucer of his. Right. Entrance? No, that is not what I wanted to do. Why would there be an entrance to the feast from here? See passage to the Gold Saucer, thank you. I would have teleported there, but, I mean, this saves money. At least I think it does. Alright, just run over here. Talk to little Nanamo. I had heard descriptions of its splendor, yet I never dreamed it would be so bright and inviting. And why it's probably a bad idea for the Sultana to go to a freaking casino. She's probably going to get addicted to gambling. No, I couldn't possibly. We did not come here to fritter away the royal coin. Godbert will be expecting us. Come, let us head directly to the lounge and ignore these gaudy temptations. Oh, Lord. So, let's go over here. And then go over here. And voila. Oh, wait. Is this it? It doesn't look like it's it. It is not it. I need to go up. Hop. Woo! Here we are. Now we just wait for Godbert. I believe this is where we are to meet Master Manderville. Or Mandeville? They didn't spell Manderville right? Shall we sit while we await his coming? Okay. And what does he have to say? He's not going to freaking ask me to rub oil on him again, is he? I hope not. My apologies, Your Grace. I have kept you waiting. No apologies are necessary, Godbert. My request was sudden, and you were kind of make yourself available at such short notice. For my son's good friend and the Sultana herself come calling, there is no more important engagement. Every time I see him, I imagine him having the same voice as freaking Armstrong from Fullmetal Alchemist. I'd do that voice if I could, but I can't. As to the purpose of my visit, I would have your thoughts on how the Crown might best aid the refugees residing in Phandelin. You are aware, I am sure, that many of Ala Mhigo's displaced sons and daughters long to return to their newly liberated homeland, and you are also aware of how they will suffer without shelter and work to sustain them. I would use our nation's wealth to spare them that suffering. What advice have you for me on the matter of how it might best be distributed? I'm about to sneeze. The unusual circumstances of our meeting and your Grace's choice of companion would suggest to me a desire for an honest and unvarnished opinion. I shall give you one. My advice to you is stop. Taxing Ulda's wealth to save Ala Mhigan refugees is a terrible, terrible idea. Is it? You oppose my proposition? Most emphatically. I agree with your Grace that the refugees must have housing and employment, but what profit is there for Ulda in this arrangement? Profit? After all you've done for Girabani's displaced, I thought you the very last person to seek the benefit from their misfortune. Forgive me, your Grace, but you appear to, be laboring under a misapprehension. It is a fine endeavor to support one's fellow man. I fear, however, that your stance is one born of pity. Your intent is to save the refugees, is it not? For all our potential, we are indolent creatures by nature. If unconditional charity is all we know, then we begin to rely upon it, to expect it. And then we consider Ulda's own poor and downtrodden. And then we must consider Ulda's own poor and downtrodden. Should they hear of you spending the nation's coin, not to improve their lot, but to nurture the distant citizens of Ala Mhigo, it is unlikely they will applaud your generosity. Surely it is not your Grace's intention to foster new resentments, but to spread goodwill. Well, he does kind of have a point. Indeed, then any support I pledge to the refugees must promote self-sufficiency, whilst also serving the interests of the people of Ulda. Exactly so. Such an arrangement will create a far more equitable relationship with the returning Ala Mhigans, even as it generates the revenue required to win the approval of your subjects. Okay. You've given me much to ponder, Master Manderville. Oh, they didn't misspell it this time. I thank you for your candor. Meanwhile, I just stare in my pimp coat. Alright, what do you have to say for yourself now, Nanamo? Nanamo! Nanamo? Nanamo! Thank you. Alright, let's see. Nanamo appears to be reassessing her plans. Profit, the thought never even crossed my mind, but standing about lamenting my naivety will not do anyone any good. I shall consider my lesson learned and press on. Ikeda, are you perchance acquainted with any successful merchants? If my attempt at philanthropy is obliged to reap a profit, it would seem wise to consult someone with a knack for business. Ordinarily, I would not trust any agent of the East Aldernard Trading Company, but if you hold this Hancock fellow in high esteem, I am content to be led by you. You may repay my faith by journeying to distant Kugane and speaking with him on my behalf. Eager though I am to visit those shores, I have not the leisure for a lengthy sea voyage. Now, assuming you will travel as adventurers are wont to do, I shall await your report by the 8th Rite in Ulda. A fair journey to you, Ikeda, and a swift one, if you please. Okay. So pushy. Teleport to... Actually, I don't even need to teleport. I can just return. That's my return spot. Shoop, boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. The rate this is going, this queue's either gonna end in about 40 or 45 minutes. We'll see how long it takes. Serial killer, really. Okay, is there a link? Is there Aetherite to East Aldernar Trading Company? No, there is not. So, which one is it? The Ruby Bazaar. Alright, Ruby Bazaar it is. Dramatis Personae. A Hingentail Nashu goes west, goes east. Okay, so there's 2 little side quests. I'm assuming those are the things to unlock the new raid and the extreme version of Shinryu. Because that fight totally wasn't hard enough the first time I did it. Greetings, honored sir. Will you be entering the Ruby Bazaar offices? Yeah, sure. Whatever you say. Sure, sure. Hancock. Alright. Ikeda, to what do I owe the pleasure? Are you here on business? I beg your pardon? Her Grace the Sultana would have my opinion on how best to invest the wealth of Ulda? My dear Ikeda, I have you to thank for this recognition, I'm sure. I am flattered that you came to me, truly flattered, but why settle for a lowly apprentice when you could have the master? Upon matters of profit, there is no living soul better qualified to advise Her Grace than Chairman Lolorito, a man whose morning exertions are said to fill his guard robe with gold. Really? I should be happy to arrange a meeting for you, say at the Scion's former headquarters in Thanalin. The Waking Sands would seem a suitably neutral venue for negotiations, don't you think? Very well, Ikeda, and may your dealings prove fruitful. As far as I remember, Lolorito is a corrupt son of a muffin. Okay, my dungeon queue's up. I will be right back, people. So, be right back. Alright, I'm back, people. That's finally over. I got the freaking new dungeon again. So, that was a pain in the butt. Alright, what's this guy gotta say to me? Okay, I think this is the raid. Kate knows of someone seeking your acquaintance. Who's this lady? She seems to have a new hairstyle. Welcome, my lord. There's a young maiden here who would speak with you. Do I know of her? Oh, it's this lady. Freaking paparazzi. Miss, the adventure has arrived. And what do you have to say for yourself? And here he is, the liberator of both Doma and Ala Mhigo in the flesh. I am Wina Murila, correspondent of the Raven. You may recognize me from my expose on the secret lives of the homunculi. Oh wait, this is a different lady, just from the same company. Is there a problem? Muji? That would be my sister. Okay, so she does look the same. People mistake us all the time, same profession you see, and we do bear a passing resemblance. When last I heard, she was still assigned to the Botanist Guild in Gridania. Poor thing. Oh right, she was part of the level 60 Botanist quest. But enough small talk, it's not for nothing that I've been standing here since yesterday morning on the off chance that you'd pass by. Great. What news are you milking me for now? No, I'm here because, actually, it's best you heard it from Alma. I am but an observer. And who's Alma? Alma? Alma, come! I found him! Oh, that's a fancy outfit. Oh, she's tiny. Is this the adventure of whom you spoke? I've never played Final Fantasy XII, so if she's a character I'm supposed to recognize, I don't know who she is. Indeed it is. Although I wouldn't mind playing the Zodiac Age remake. I'll maybe get it eventually. Maybe even stream it. So please, I beg of you, find my father. You are his only hope. Okay. Oh, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. It's alright, Alma. Okay. We're attracting unwanted attention. Might I suggest a change of venue? Okay. We will await you before the Prima Vista. The theater barge has a berth at the airship landing. Now here's what I'm wanting to know. It's because for years they've been talking about adding the bunny person race from, the Vera from Final Fantasy XII as a race in this game. And this is a new dungeon based on Final Fantasy XII, so I'm curious as to whether or not that this is going to be their excuse for adding it eventually, and probably the next expansion. Something heroic this way comes. How fare you, Ikeda? As ever, I am seeking inspiration to draw upon my work. If you have any new experiences to share, I should very much like to hear them. Talk about Shinryu. Here we go. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that trial. I don't know when I'm going to do that trial. I haven't even done the extremes of the other two. Well then, pray do not keep me in suspense. Shinryu, a being of pure violence, born of the torment of they who died for their homeland. Those souls had longed for the power to smite the Empire. Little would they have imagined that this power would assume such a form, nor that it would fall into the enemy's hands to become the ultimate obstacle to freedom, bound to the will of Xenos Galvis, a pitiable man who feels not safe when at the edge of death. Okay. The power to smite, the power to save, a desperate man did direly crave. High though the price, in full he did pay, creating a god where his dead body lay. The power to rise, the power to vie, a lonely man did madly desire. Forsook his flesh, for such was the toll, binding a god to his insatiable soul. Here we have two men who sought power, but for different reasons. One wished to deliver his homeland from tyranny, the other wished to fill the void of his solitude. Yet even should they achieve this goal, would they truly find peace? I suspect that only they would know the answer. And they're both dead. Now you, my friend, you will continue your fight, will you not? I pray that you will again regale me with such accounts of your experiences. For as brightly as a hero's tale shines, it is not without its shadows. It is my duty, I feel, to share both with the world, the stirring and the sorrowful. Minstrel's Ballad, Shinryu's Domain, now accessible. Oh god, I dread that fight whenever I finally get around to it. I need to get the wolves. I definitely want to get them, but I don't know when. Or how, for that matter. I'm going to pull it off. Now this, I don't know what the... Nashu. It's freaking the Hildebrand stuff. I'm going to save that for another video. I'm just going to save the Hildebrand questline for another video. Because that's going to be a whole other thing. That's going to be a whole other mess. Wait a second. Oh, probably got to go upstairs. Go over here. Ow, I have a headache for some reason. Well, actually, I know why I have a headache. It's freaking 8:30 in the morning and I need sleep. Probably gonna go to bed for a bit after this fight. That's a pretty cool looking airship. Linia Murilla, really. Beho, Snowbo. Alright, Royal Dark God. How imaginative of a name. As I said before, I think it better we continue this conversation in the privacy of the young lady's barge. It's not that I don't trust anyone here, it's simply that I don't trust anyone here. Okay. Good talk. Gate guard Menegumo has been instructed to look out for you. In future, speak with him when you wish to gain admission to the docks. Okay. And what do they have to say for themselves? Nagatsuki. Are you seeking a particular vessel? This landing sees the arrival of foreign airships from the Garlean Empire and elsewhere. as well as craft belonging to the Bakufu itself. Shuttle pilot. You should speak with Lady Lena. Alma. Dot. Good talk, lady. Good talk. Okay, thank you for coming, Nikita. You're probably wondering why I've summoned you to an airship, and a Garlean one at that. Allow me to explain on the shuttle. Oh, here we go. Wait a second, she's Garlean? I'm so confused. Unless Evilus was taken over by the Garleans and they're escaping and rebelling. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right, by the way. Evilus? Evilus? I'm not sure. Ivalice? Evilice? That's probably Evilus. Oh, jeez. Sorry for yawning, people. I am sleepy. Alright, Lena. Welcome to the Prima Vista, the most luxurious theater barge in the land. Where be the bunny ladies? This is an evilist thing, after all. Ooh, what is that? Wait. Oh, they're making a freaking papier-mâché freaking Bahamut. Don't be shy, you've nothing to fear from us. Well, most of us. Company thespian. I have no words for you, stranger. Not now, I'm practicing my lines in my head. How fabulous. Alright, let's talk to Alma. Others have nothing to say to me anyways. Whoops. The Prima Vista serves as both stage and home to the Majestic Imperial Theater Company. You can keep that dirk in your drawers. No one here is a member of the Imperial Army, nor are there any spies within the troop. At least no known spies. Ask anyone and they will readily attest, the Majestic Imperial Theater Company are the finest practitioners of the dramatic arts to be found anywhere on the 3 great continents, and beyond. They have admirers throughout the Empire and its territories, and even boast a sizable following in Gridania, hence my assignment to their story. It is a little-known fact, outside Garlemald at least, that the late Emperor was a devoted patron of the arts who supported various theater troupes to the tune of much coin. Oh, Leviathan. Is that... I'm not sure who that's... Shinryu arm? I think that's supposed to be a Shinryu arm. It's kind of weird. Chocobo suits. Sorry, people, I'm just kind of looking at whatever outfits they have there. Indeed, Solus was so enamored of the majestic players that he ordered the construction of this very airship, that the troupe might perform in every corner of the Empire. When his grandson took the throne, however, everything changed. Now all theater troupes, domestic and foreign, must submit their works for approval by the Central Imperial Board of Censors. If the play is deemed vulgar or inflammatory, it is banned, and the troupe denied their writs of transit. The worst offenders? Well, they are never heard from again. This policy has effectively left playwrights with one of 2 options: compromise their creative integrity to curry favor with his radiance, or put down their quills altogether. Okay. They just keep putting in messages here, and I'm reading them loud and clear. And yes, that kind of crap does happen in game development, of course. Principal of the Majestic, however, chose a third option: to express his disapproval for the new Emperor's policies obliquely in ostensibly unpolitical works. Pray forgive me for my earlier outburst. I am Alma Bas Lexentail, a daughter of the Principal Genimus Sin Lexentail. I don't know if I pronounced that name right. Sorry if I butchered it. Mayhap you have heard of my father's latest play, The Zodiac Brave Story. On the surface, it is an innocent retelling of a well-known Garlean fairy tale, hardly worthy of the censors' attention, but beneath it is something quite different, a fact the censors failed to spot when they approved the manuscript for public performance. Oh, so they're like getting past the censors with little tricks. The play quickly became a huge success. The common folk loved its fantastical story, while the learned classes appreciated its true message. By the time the Imperial Board of Censors realized their mistake, it was too late. No longer in a position to prohibit the performance outright without admitting fault, they took aim at the company's purse strings instead. Before long, noble patrons began to withdraw their support, fearing to be associated with the troupe, and by the end, even the learned felt compelled to feign ignorance. By bleeding the majestic of their funding, the censors robbed them of their voice. Sounds like YouTube right now. And none of this has made it any clearer as to why you're here. Right. Allow me, Lena. Oh, Sid's here. And what do you have to say, embodiment of manliness? I've known Genomus since we were students at the Magitech Academy. When I heard his daughter was in Kugane looking to enlist the aid of an adventurer, I felt compelled to give her your name. Sorry for not announcing myself sooner, old friend. Genomus and I were from different worlds, but that only served to fuel our friendship. Many were the nights where we would prattle on into the wee small hours, warm flagons of peated ale, numbing our minds to the other's naive ideologies. Yet no matter where our conversation began, it would invariably end with him telling me how he was going to change the Empire from the inside out. The troop was to be his path into the people's hearts. Even after the Empire forced him from his home, Genomus never gave up hope that his work might change the world. Huh. Art will ever strain against artificial bounds and borders, man-made walls and misguided wars. It is in such times of uncertainty that we must needs embrace our calling and take to the skies so others might do the same. Interesting. What I'm trying to say, rather poorly, I concede, is that not all Garleans are hewn from the same stone. Just as there are those who pledge their lives to the Empire and would never think to question the authority of its leaders, there are those like Alma's father and myself whose love for their country does not blind them to its flaws. Still, try selling that sack of sunflower to an Ala Mhigo or a Doman who has watched his family consumed in the flames of a Magitech Reaper. How many Eorzean adventurers do you think would leap at the opportunity to help an Imperial search for her missing father? And in Garlean territory, no less. Ooh, we're going to Garlean territory. But you are different. You have seen enough to know that the line between good and evil is not defined by race, color, or creed. So what say you? I can never turn my back on a damsel in distress. I would make a poor adventurer were I to shy from adventure. Yeah. Let me put on my fedora. So stupid. Oh, thank you so much. Now that you understand the nature of the task, perhaps Alma could provide some insight as to where we might begin our search. Shortly before my father disappeared, he began to work on his next play, a successor to the Zodiac Brave story. But I am getting ahead of myself. Please follow me. Okay. And where would that be, little girl? Okay. An elevator. To what? That's a pretty fancy screen. Through adventure and hardship, young Delita, Delita? A boy of common blood becomes a hero, culminating in the birth of the mythical kingdom of Ivolus. But that is where the story ends. There are no records of anything that follows. Was Principal Genomus simply going to invent something? My father believed that he had discovered evidence of a second hero, one whose efforts went largely unnoticed, but without whom Delita would never have risen to the throne. His was the next tale he wanted to tell, the true Zodiac Brave. A second hero. According to my father's studies, this young man was one of Delita's closest friends and confidants. That is, until the untimely passing of Delita's sister forced the two to part ways. Yet the unnamed hero continued to provide aid to his friend by thwarting the machinations of those who would scheme against Delita, thus paving the way for the Pauper's rise to regent. Is this actually the story from Final Fantasy XII? I don't know. You must forgive me, but I've never heard anyone make such claims. How exactly did your father come by this information? That is a long story. One which begins and ends with Genomus becoming lost in the very legend he sought to lay bare. Even as far back as our academy days, Ivalice had Genomus firmly in its grasp. He flatly refused to believe the story was just a fairy tale. And so, when he was finally driven out of Garlemald, it was only natural that he would choose this of all places as his refuge, was it not, Alma? That is correct. Master Garland, it has long been my father's belief that the ruins of ancient Ivalice lie beyond Naxia, buried beneath the sands of the Dalmasca Desert. Okay. Poor Dalmasca. The kingdom prospered in relative isolation for countless generations until the Empire came calling. I blame the Flame Empire. When not touring, my father would organize expeditions into the Dalmasca Desert to search for proof of Ivalice's existence. Sometimes he would bring back strange artifacts, ancient tomes, and crystals unlike any others. Fancy. My father called them Orosite and claimed they were vital to proving his theories. This is one such crystal. By the 12, it's magnificent! Evolution legend tells of crystals bequeathed by the gods into those who would be kings. It is during his quest to gather Orosite that young Delita rises to prominence. I must have heard the tale a thousand times from my nursemaid, but that is all it ever was, a tale. My father would often tell us how the Orosite spoke to him. At the time, we assumed he was speaking figuratively, that the stone's beauty roused his muse. But then he began to act strangely. How so? Following our arrival in Hingashi, my father spent most of his time cloistered in his chambers, poring over his past research, and though he was alone, we could oft hear him in conversation. It was not uncommon for my father to recite the lines as he wrote them, but it soon became clear that this was something else. It was as if he was talking to my mother who passed several winters gone. Might this not have been out of mere loneliness, or perhaps the strain of your flight from Garlemald? Possibly, but that would not explain the voices which answered him. Hello? And who are you? Alma, who are these people? I told you I did not require any help finding father, especially from outsiders. Well, he looks a little arrogant. So good of you to join us, Ramza. Allow me to introduce... Enough, Master Sid. We may be shunned by the Empire, but we are still Garleans, and we still have our pride. Unlike some, it seems, we require neither the aid nor the pity of foreign rabble. Oh, really? Have you forgotten where you are, brother? It is we who are the foreign rabble. This land and its customs are all but unknown to us. We would be fools to conduct our search without a proven guide. Your sister is right, Ramza. As for my good friend here, your mistrust is ill-placed. I will personally vouch for his character. In all the time I have known him, he has never once let anything as insignificant as race or creed color his judgment. You're lucky to have him. But we would have you, Master Garland. Why do you refuse us? You know why. Until his affair with Omega is resolved, my hands are tied. It pains me to refuse you and your sister, but it pains me far more to leave Genomus to his fate. I am sorry. You need not apologize. I'll let my emotions get the better of me. After what happened in Raubahn, it may be time to admit we're out of our depth. My brother's last expedition met with tragedy in the ruins of the capital city. He barely escaped with his life. The Empire turned Raubahn into a death trap. You were a fool to set foot there without a proper escort. I realize that now, Master Garland, but at the time I saw an opportunity to rescue our father, and I took it. Whatever led you to believe your father was in Dalmasca's capital? My father's fascination with the evolution legend began with a trip to the antediluvian city long before the war. Call it a premonition, but something tells me that that is where he has returned. Now you must excuse me, I need some time to think. Okay. This is a really long cutscene. Holy hell. Then, Alma, I shall leave you and your brother in Ikeda's capable hands. He has ever repaid my trust with interest. You would do well to grant him yours. Thank you, Master Garland. We will not forget this kindness. Now go kick booty. Now my question is, when do I go there? Let me talk to these three. Let's see. Oh, how I miss my father. Daddy's girl, isn't she? Sid didn't bid me farewell. This is going in my write-up. Oh, really? Alright, Ramza. Master Garland seems to think highly of you, so I will withhold judgment until after Dalmasca. Okay. Unfortunately, I guess I'm going to end this episode here. And then next time I record, I'm going to finish this freaking quest line, possibly do the dungeon, and then I'll continue with the main scenario. So if you lovely people enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe, leave a comment, almost sneezed, possibly leave a donation, share the channel with your friends, poke the notification button. And if you'd like to support my channel and help it grow, maybe visit my Patreon and become a patron. There's a link to it in the description. And I will see you lovely people in the next episode. Have a good night, everybody.